While there isn't any official information with the Nintendo Switch 2 directly from Nintendo, we've gotten a number of reports from credible sources like Eurogamer, VGC, and Nate the Hate on what this system is going to do. And everything so far is pretty positive, as Nvidia has made huge strides when it comes to mobile technology from the Tegra X1 all the way now to this point. We do know, based off of a Nate the Hate report, that it's going to have a custom SoC, it's going to have DLSS 3.5 with ray reconstruction, and that report was also with VGC and Eurogamer when it comes to DLSS 3.5 and heightened ray tracing. But what about backwards compatibility? What about Nintendo accounts? What about the rest of the stuff that people are looking for? Well, we're gonna have to wait when it comes to everything, but we got a little nugget of information from Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser, and you have to remember, Doug Bowser is not the big boss over in Japan. He's the marketing boss or leader of over here in America. So he's never going to say anything that's going to get himself in trouble or jeopardize what they're doing with the next gen system. But he did state one thing here that's very interesting that Nintendo has echoed before in presentations, investor meetings, but I wanted to talk about it because it has some people thinking a few different things with the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we get into that, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get the best Nintendo Switch 2, RPG news, live streams, and more right here. Now let's go ahead and jump right into this topic here. This was in a recent interview with Inverse, and Inverse talked about, hey, what's going on with the Gamescom, the Switch 2 stuff, how's everything there, what's going on with that? And here is what Mr. Doug Bowser had to say when it comes to all of it. Quote, well, first, I can't comment, or I won't comment, I should say, on the rumors that are out there, said Bowser. But one thing we've done with the Switch to help with that communication and transition is the formation of the Nintendo account. In the past, every device we transitioned to had a whole new account system. Creating the Nintendo account will allow us to communicate with our players if and when we make a transition to a new platform to help ease the process or transition. Our goal is to minimize the dip you typically see in the last year of one cycle and the beginning of another. I can't speak to the possible features of a new platform, but the Nintendo account is a strong basis for having that communication as we make the transition. So it's interesting that he said that, right? A couple different things to kind of note with this is that help ease the transition to a new platform. With the Nintendo accounts, it's going to be easier. So what do you get with Nintendo accounts? Well, one, you don't have to re-put in all the information so you can access the eShop. That's one thing. But also two, if you're using the same one, you already have a bunch of stuff there. That's to help ease the transition. It's like, okay, I have access to my games, I have access to my settings, I have access to everything that I already have here. Now, there was some confusion on Twitter where people were talking, well, wait a minute, hold up here. What do you mean? We have the Nintendo network IDs, or we have the Wii U and 3DS, and you were able to kind of transfer that over to Nintendo Switch. And yes and no. While you were able to migrate things, it was not the same account system. It didn't take everything that you had and all of your content and everything that you built up and all of your settings and transfer it over. It was more of just like a friends list and everything. Nintendo accounts are brand new. It's a whole new system that they built specifically for the Nintendo Switch. They had some trouble at the beginning when it comes to getting their online up. They have the new MPLN servers now, and everything is predicated on that Nintendo account. Nintendo's going really hard with the different digital voucher programs and different things that you can do with Nintendo accounts and how those are going to be able to be transferred over to different systems. We've already seen it to where you can have it on multiple systems. If you have that, it's not the same thing as what Nintendo did before with the 3DS and the Wii U and with the Wii beforehand. So yes, Doug Bowser is right that they did have to create a whole new system each time, but that's because Nintendo was not thinking forward. They're thinking way too much on just that system. Now, they finally have done this, and that's a criticism that people have had with them in the past, myself included. They finally have this Nintendo account system that can transfer over. So this would lead to believe that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be, at least at the bare minimum, backwards compatible digital with your Nintendo accounts. Now we still have to wait and see for everything, but I'm guessing yes, you will be able to access your copy of Hollow Knight or your copy of Super Mario 3D World or anything that you've purchased digitally that you have on there. It just migrates over. Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. This stuff is actually beneficial, and Nintendo will make more money doing this than starting all over, because people who have the system or new or whatever the case is can access a bunch of games and buy whatever they want, stuff that they missed out on, other things, whatever the case is. This happens with the new system. Sony and Microsoft made a ton of money, even though the launch lineups might not have been the best thing in the world. Gamers had access to all of the previous gen stuff, and with Xbox even further than that. So it's actually a money-making idea. Backwards compatibility or offering people more games to buy is not something that is a negative. When people say, oh, well, they have to re-buy the same game, it's like, no, you want to just continue buying what you can buy because it works seamlessly, and you want to be able to get new games as well. So to me, it seems like that will be the case. I've always been on team backwards compatibility anyway, based off of the fact that they're still using NVIDIA. It's still a hybrid. The reports are coming out that there's still cartridge slot. So to me, it's going to be backwards compatible. They're going to figure it out. And at least this kind of gives us a little bit more like, okay, yeah, the Nintendo accounts, that's going to be there, help ease in the transition. Obviously, that is really good if you could just have all that there. So it seems like that's what Mr. Doug Bowser is saying without actually saying that, because he can't say it, you know. So it is what it is on that front. Now let's go and jump into something else that gamers should get excited about, and that is a massive SEGA RPG sale. We're seeing big sales across the board when it comes to SEGA titles. Now, there are so many games, and I will have the list for you guys. Nintendo Everything has the list and more, so you guys can check it out. There's Etrian Odyssey, there's Catherine, there's 13 Sentinels, there's SEGA Ages games. There's so much stuff, but I wanted to go over 3 separate franchises that I truly love on the Nintendo Switch and just love in general, and that is Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and Valkyria Chronicles. So we have Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, and Persona 5 Strikers all on sale across the board. And you guys can see the prices right here. $13.99, $14.99, $13.99, $35.99, and $17.99 respectively with those. So Persona 5 Royal, Persona 5 Strikers, Persona 4, Persona 3 Portal, they're all fantastic RPGs. So if you're looking for a lengthy RPG to play, have a bit of fun, check out some of these Persona games. I highly recommend Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers. I think both of those games are absolutely incredible, in addition to Persona 4 Golden. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is a fighting game, so just keep that in mind. And yeah, they're all really good. You can't really go wrong with any of them when it comes to these Persona titles. Now, next up, I want to talk about Shin Megami Tensei. So I am a huge fan of Shin Megami Tensei 5. That is on sale for $29.99. So if you're not a physical person, because I do suggest buying the game physical if you can, you have that there for $29.99. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster. This is a HD version of the PlayStation 2 game that came out 20 years ago plus or so. It's good, but it's not the best in terms of the quality of the remaster port, but at the same time, it's not bad, and it's definitely very challenging and fun if you really kind of sink your teeth into the mechanics of the game. But I highly recommend Shin Megami Tensei 5. You don't need to play Shin Megami Tensei 1 through 4 in order to play 5. It's a whole separate story, a whole new different thing, with small ties back, obviously, to previous games. But for the most part, it's all brand new, and it does share, of course, the demons that we've seen in previous games, but with a bunch of new stuff as well. So SMT5 to me is one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch, one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and a game that I spent well over 100 hours in. Check out my videos on the channel if you want to know more about SMT5, as we're starting to see some deep discounts on the game. Now, last but definitely not least, Valkyria Chronicles, which to me is still one of the greatest and innovative strategy RPG action type of hybrids that are out there. It has a beautiful art style. It has incredible graphics. It's got great gameplay, good quality of life features for how old the game is when it comes to the original Valkyria Chronicles, and it's only $9.99. And heck, if you want the 4th version, you can get that for $7.49. So between Valkyria Chronicles 1 and 4, you're not spending too much money. Now, the only problem problem that I would say here, and the reason why I'm bringing this game up and I wanted to talk about it, is that we really need Valkyria Chronicles 2 and 3 ported over. Those games are exclusive to the PlayStation Portable, and I think that they only released in Japan. So yeah, it would be really cool if Valkyria Chronicles could have like a nice complete edition when it comes to the franchise. Valkyria Chronicles 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Switch, next gen Switch. That would be awesome. But these games are really good. Valkyria Chronicles has some of the best heartwarming, heart-gripping type of story, but at the same time, it has like that anime influence into it, but it's grounded at the same time. So I love the original Valkyria Chronicles. I played it back when it came out on the PS3 in the late 2000s. I beat it on there, beat it again on the Nintendo Switch, and Valkyria Chronicles 4 kind of takes the base of what Valkyria Chronicles, the original, did, and then just makes it even better when it comes to the graphics, when it comes to the gameplay, all of that. So yes, check out Valkyria Chronicles 1 and Valkyria Chronicles 4, and very similar to Shin Megami Tensei, you don't need to play all the previous Valkyria Chronicles games in order to play Valkyria Chronicles 4. Obviously, it'd be nice if you already know about the stories and everything, but it's a whole new story, whole different time, and there are some callbacks and characters that they do bring over from previous Valkyria Chronicles games, but I highly recommend both of these. Now, this sale for all these games ends on November 1st, 2023, so pick it up by then. But of course, Black Friday is right around the corner, so all of these will probably be on sale physical for the games that do have physical copies, or there'll probably be more eShop sales for Christmas and holiday and all of that. Now, for the last topic, we're going to circle back over to the inverse interview with Doug Bowser, and recently there was a bunch of leaked emails when it comes to Microsoft and their warpath that they eventually want to go on, acquiring seemingly everyone, consolidating the whole industry, and having pretty much no competition on the market. Now, while that does seem like an exaggeration, there is some truth to it, because Phil Spencer in some leaked emails said that he did want to acquire Nintendo, and that would be a prime asset. In addition to saying that it's taken them a long time to realize that they shouldn't be making hardware, that they should be with us, but he wasn't necessarily 100% serious as if it could happen, but he would like it to happen if he could have it happen. So Phil Spencer, this whole best for the gaming industry, this whole, oh, I want there to be parity amongst gamers and all this type of stuff, it's a load of baloney. It's a load of BS, because he wants there to be consolidation. He wants Microsoft and his career to be fulfilled and to be furthered, not necessarily everything for the gaming industry. So I just want to make sure that I put that out there when people sit there and say Phil Spencer is trying to do good, what's best for everyone. No, he's not. He's trying to do what's best for himself and Microsoft, which he's supposed to be. He is the big Xbox boss. But this was asked when it comes to Microsoft and Phil Spencer wanting to acquire Nintendo. In the inverse interview, Doug Bowser, Nintendo of America president, was asked about that, and here is what he had to say. Quote, "We have a great relationship with Microsoft," said Bowser. "We consider them to be partners in many, many ways, and you only have to look at Nintendo Switch to see that partnership. Obviously, Minecraft is on Nintendo Switch, and we brought Banjo-Kazooie to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So we're looking forward to that partnership continuing. As far as consolidation in the industry goes, I've been part of this industry for 16 plus years now. One thing that's been constant is the acquisitions of studios, but the other constant is the fact that new studios are popping up every single year. Incredibly creative studios are making content from indie-sized to AAA-sized games. So as far as consolidation happens, on an equal basis, we're seeing these new studios which really just speak to the dynamic nature of the industry overall. In the end, that bodes well for the player. So I think that Doug Bowser took pretty much the safest route that you can take, kind of just brushing aside the whole acquisition stuff and saying, hey, they are great partners, but then also saying, hey, while yes, there is consolidation and we've seen it a lot, there's also new studios that pop up and there's new opportunities for developers, whether small or large. And yes, that is true for every single big Activision that gets swallowed up by Microsoft or Bethesda or whatever the case is. There are new studios popping up and making a name for themselves with smaller size games and big games as well. So I do feel that Doug Bowser is right there. But yeah, he took the safe route. Obviously, he's not going to say anything that could get him in trouble with the higher-ups, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. You never know who you're going to need, what help you're going to get, or where you're going to be in the next number of years or decades. But it's just interesting to hear Doug Bowser talk about it in that type of way. But what are your thoughts when it comes to everything that we discussed here, guys, from the massive Sega deal that's going on with RPGs to what Doug Bowser had to say earlier with the next-gen Nintendo Switch and Nintendo accounts? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, click that notification bell, and check out our other Nintendo Switch and RPG content, like my top 25 Nintendo Switch games of all time. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.